I'm here with Porvoo Butchers head coach Lasse Voipio, and we're going to talk about the Maple Bowl coming up. Okay, Lasse, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime, man. We're trying to do a little bit different. If you're listening, you don't know that we're also on YouTube. This will be a video version, so you can see my beautiful mug, Lasse's beautiful mug, as we try to promote the sport of football here in Finland. So getting right into it, Lasse, let's talk about the season real quick. The Butchers, you guys played in a lot of really close games this year. A lot of games where, there's a little bit of sweating, a couple comeback victories, even in the playoffs. You guys played in a tight game against the Roosters. My question to you is, how do you overcome that adversity so well throughout the season? Like, what are a couple of things that you think that your team does really well to help you in those situations?
I think it all comes down to the basic fundamentals of the sport. Like, it starts from the practice. Like, we have had like a great attendance at practice throughout the whole year. Like, since the off season, during regular season, now at off season, we've almost in every single practice had the full teams. Like, there have been only a few guys missing. They've been out sick or couldn't get out of their jobs or something like that. But nothing like the traditional that after the midsummers you get only 15 guys to practice. That hasn't been there at all this year. So we've had like 30 to 40 guys at practice, every single practice. The only times we had less than 30 were like these ad hoc practices that we threw out there, like we need another practice on Friday. So, and then people couldn't get out their schedules or something like that. But other than that, it's been basically, in my mind, it's because of the practice. And so that means that everyone knows what they're doing. They know what the guys next to them are doing, which means that they can trust each other, that the guys next to you are going to do their jobs just as long as I do my job. So even though it looks like we've been doing these comebacks, we've been actually just playing on the same level throughout the game, and our opponents mostly have started really strong, but then they quit playing or something like that. And we've been just plowing on because we hadn't really stopped. So we have our confidence on, and they're like, oh, what's happening? They're making a comeback, and then they can't get back in the game. And we've been basically just doing our thing the whole game. So that's why I've been that in my mind, that's the reason. Like, we've been basically just doing our thing the whole game.
See, that's perfect, because you're telling us what we need to know. All us fans and media, we're seeing a comeback, but for you guys, that was the plan all along. The plan was we're going to work all the way through, and what the other team does just happens to look like a comeback. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it's basically the same that the Roosters used to do back in the days. Like, it looked like the Roosters were struggling in the beginning, but they were only trusting their system. Like, that it's gonna lock in. The pieces are gonna fit eventually. You just need to keep on grinding, doing what you're doing, sticking to the plan, sticking to the strategy that you planned out, and eventually it will start to work. You just need to find what works for against this team. Like, maybe we can run from the middle, we go outside, something like that. It's really small things that then eventually end up changing the game to our advantage.
So I just want to throw this out there. All you other lower level teams or just new players to the sport, consistency is key. You heard it here from a Maple Bowl team. Consistency is key. In American football, it's one of those few sports where it gets so routine and you get bored of it. But again, as you guys have proven this season, if you are consistently doing what you're supposed to, eventually it'll work out. And next thing you know, you're in the Maple Bowl, right?
That's it. In simple terms, that is just it.
Yeah. So moving on to the game, you guys
Yep.
played the Seinäjoki Crocodiles about 2 months ago in
Yep.
Porvoo. It was a really tightly contested game, even controversial, it could be called.
Yeah.
There was a pass caught in the back of the end zone. I was there, so I understand how fun that was. But what do you think you guys have done in the last 2 months to kind of improve to be back in this Maple Bowl and have an even better chance of, winning against the Crocodiles? Like, what do you think you guys have done better in the last 2 months for this matchup?
Well, I'm still sticking to the consistency thing. Like we've been doing the same thing. We haven't really changed that much. We've been just honing on those things that weren't functioning on those games or in that game. Also, we got Brandon Wellington playing for us and Jordy. So we've also strengthened our defense more. So I think that we're now a complete package, and it's going to be hopefully it's going to be a bit different when we play against Seinäjoki, but we will have to see, wait and see. But we've been improving like increment by increment every single practice going forward in the season. So simple stuff. So we're just trying to be a little better every single day, and at least until this week, it has paid off.
That's awesome. So let's move on to the Butchers organization. You've been with them for a while. How does it making it to the Maple Bowl for like the first time in, I want to say 12 years, 13 years, something
Yeah.
like that? Like, how does that feel for the Butchers organization and fans and long time, supportance of the game? Like, how does that feel? Can you explain to us this feeling of we finally made it back?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys who've been doing this a long time, like Mikko Seppänen, Niko Pennanen, Niko Roiko, guys like that. Like Niko Pennanen was in 2010. He was at the Maple Bowl when Butchers last won the Maple Bowl championship or Maple League championship. So they had to wait 13 years to get here. They had a couple of chances throughout this 13-year trip and it was always down against the Roosters, and until last Sunday the Roosters always beat them. So it was an emotional thing. It was really emotional thing when we secured the win on Sunday. People were really happy and they were really excited. There were a lot of tears of joy. Tears of joy. The organization was thrilled. Like people were finally we're going back to the Maple Bowl, and like random people were coming up to me and thanking me for getting the team to the championship game. So the whole Porvoo like city is living the hype at the moment. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
That's exciting. And I know if anybody is following the podcast, we have a very unique relationship with Porvoo fans this season because you guys are so good.
Yeah.
Normally we get a little bit of feedback from the podcast listeners, but we've been getting Butchers feedback all year since week one. I was told that you guys were going to the Maple Bowl, and I had to eat a little crow towards the playoffs when people started saying, I told you, the Butchers. That's really exciting that you guys have been able to do that.
Yeah, I've loved the your like the you have those picks, like all those former coaches and players picking them, and every single week the guys I've coached with or played with, they're always picking not the Butchers.
Not the
So
Butchers.
that gives so much more like you like spirit. You just want to beat the team more because you have those guys that you played with or coached with who do not believe that you have even a chance. So that's always that gives that much more motivation to do this thing.
That's what we say here on the show is if we pick against you and you win, well, we really were picking against you so that you would have the motivation to win. Either way, we're going to be right. Usually guys
Yeah,
just have to get the win.
yeah. It works for me that at least this year.
If it works, it's great, right? So getting a little bit more into this game, you guys are playing against the Crocodiles. This season, the Crocodiles defense has been considered the best in the Maple League. I mean, I would attest to that. They've been really consistent. Their offense has been able to score when they need to. And that's kind of how they've kind of patched together such a great season. So when you're thinking about what do you need to do, what do you need to focus on to limit this Crocodiles team, what do you think your major focus will be? Or if you want to say, what do you think the Crocodiles' greatest strength is that you need to keep to a minimum in this game?
Well, we all know the Crocodiles' biggest strength, and that's of course Christian Powell. Like,
yeah,
no doubt about it. Like he is a game changer, that man. So he can win games by himself. Not taking anything away from Zach Whitehead, but Christian Powell is the guy to stop on their offense. So if we can limit his yards to the minimum, make him not score this game, then we will definitely have a chance to win it. Basically, we just have to make them throw the ball, make them win us by passing. On offense, we just need to establish our short pass game. We need to establish our run. We can't do the same thing that Vasa let them do. Like what they played 9-man box against Vasa, and Vasa still tried to run. That's not just gonna. It's never gonna work. We need to keep them honest. So we need to establish both pass game, run game, to make sure that we have all the opportunities to score. But it will come down to who scores the most and who stop the other team's offense. Well, also who makes the less mistakes and gives up the ball. Yeah.
You said it best. I think ultimately football is very simple. The team that scores more than the other team wins the game, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's ultimately going to come down to.
Usually the case. There's only like this year. There's only been once that the team that scored the most didn't win, but that was a cabinet decision in the first game. So
yeah, that's the
other
only
than that,
one.
Yeah.
So, last question I have for you, Coach, and I'm gonna let you get out of here. Is
sure.
Why should people watch this year's Maple Bowl game? You know, give us your elevator pitch. Why will this game be exciting for people to watch?
Well, for the first time in at least 11 years, the winner's not going to be Roosters or the Steelers. So it's going to be someone else. It's going to be a totally different ball game than anything in the last 11 years. We have two great teams, play totally different offenses, totally different defenses. So there's going to be a lot to see for the fans, for anyone interested in football. So it's going to be a great game. Hopefully it'll be great weather, so we'll see both great passing game, great running game, great tackles, big hits, big catches, a lot of scoring. So, but it'll be a huge game, and it'll be really fun to watch. So I don't know anything else to say. So
I think that was a great pitch, Coach.
Yeah, thank you.
It'll be a great game. That was a great pitch. That's all I got for you. Thanks for answering my questions. Good luck to you out there this weekend, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you very much. All right. See you next time.